true believers. Drew here from Horror, Sci-Fi, and Beyond, and we're here today for episode 7 of the MCU Lookback. And we got Phase 3, Part 3, with the review of Ryan Coogler's Black Panther. And with me to review this movie is we got the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Eric White.
Hey everybody. I can't believe we've done 7 of these now, or this is our 7th one.
Good.
Ugh, feels like we've been doing them forever, but then also not doing them. I don't know. It's a weird sensation.
And for my second host, hailing from Alabama, we got Mr. Action Jackson.
Howdy, y'all.
How's it going,
Glad
man?
to be here with a bunch of white guys talking about Black Panther.
Just getting it out of the way early. Just talking about it off the top.
Yeah.
Right.
It's gonna be fine. Like, I mean, it's part of the MCU, so we kind of have to do it.
Right.
Yeah.
No, for sure.
Yeah, I definitely. I mean, I'll talk about my feelings about the movie here in a second. Because we got a little bit of housekeeping to do. Because next episode we will be reviewing the classic children's film Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory for the 40th anniversary.
40 years, wow.
Yeah, which I'm really excited for. Also, the episode after that, we're actually going to be doing a discussion with me, Eric, Jackson, Reed, and my mom when we talk about movies from 1994 to be posted on my birthday because I'm turning 30.
That will be chaos.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm excited for that. But
Absolute
it's going to be a lot of fun.
chaos.
The Clinton years.
I wouldn't know anything about that. I was a baby.
I was 11.
Okay.
I remember. Yeah.
I was 9. I was 9 in 94. So
Yep. And then the episode after that, the next episode in May, we're going to be reviewing Terminator 1 and 2. I'm really looking
classics.
forward to it,
especially 2. Terminator 2 is maybe a perfect action movie. I don't know.
It really is. That and like maybe Raiders and Die Hard, Speed, maybe
Fury Road.
Yeah.
Maybe,
well, because it's actually the 40th anniversary of the Terminator franchise, so
right.
Yeah, I do both of them. Well, because
you know what's kind of good? Terminator 3.
I like Terminator 3. I like it.
It's pretty good.
It's better than Genesis and all those other ones.
I didn't see that. Well, I saw what's the one with
Dark
Christian
Fate?
Bale? Yeah, no.
Oh, Salvation.
Yeah, I saw that one, but I didn't see the other ones. But
don't be sorry. Just think for one fucking minute.
Terminator 3 is pretty good.
It's not bad. I saw Terminator 3 in theaters.
Jackson. Good for you. So I have to reenact.
Okay.
But no, I like Terminator. Terminator 3 is a lot of fun. I actually saw that in theaters with my dad. So that's pretty cool.
You saw Terminator 3 in theaters?
Yeah. Talk to the dad.
I saw it in theaters.
I saw it in
Eric?
theaters.
We all saw it in theaters.
Yeah.
Maybe the only movie we've all seen in theaters. I don't know. There's MCU stuff to get to.
All right. So
maybe the first movie we all saw in theaters together before we ever knew each other, like 21 years ago.
Maybe.
Who knows?
Who knows?
All right.
Yeah.
All saw it on the same day, same time, different states.
Okay. So you're ready to get into some deep water?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, let's just put our best foot forward. I know we're a bunch of white guys reviewing a movie that's important to the Black culture. It's you agreed to do this series. It's part of the series. Let's do the best we can to intelligently talk about this movie in this historical context. Yeah.
I can do that. Yeah.
I'm just prepping you, Jackson, okay? Because
you're the one that wanted to make this its own episode. So
I just felt bad because the two movies we were talking about before would have been Thor and Spider-Man. It just felt weird doing
Okay, fine.
next to this movie that's historically culturally impactful.
Let's talk about the movie.
Okay, I'll talk about the movie because the plot summary for Black Panther, according to the Internet Movie Database, is T'Challa, heir to the hidden but advanced kingdom of Wakanda, must step forward to lead his people into the new future and must confront a challenger from his country's past.
Tell me something. What do you know about Wakanda? It's a third world country. Textiles, shepherds, cool outfits, all a front. Explorers have searched for it. Called it El Dorado. They looked for it in South America. But it was in Africa the whole time. I'm the only one who's seen it and made it out alive. I can see you.
Now, let's go around the room and talk and give our quick thoughts about this movie. I'll start with you, Jackson.
Okay, so when this movie came out, I was working at the Alamo Draft House in Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
And we were a theater that drew a lot of Black viewers because we were near one of the biggest Black suburbs in Dallas. And my memory of this movie, the weekend it came out, and actually for the next few weeks it was out, is all these Black people coming to the movies in like dashikis and other African garb and being so excited for the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And it was hard work because it was sold out screenings day and night.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we were working 12-hour days, but the people that came to see it were so excited to see it. It was electric. So, you know, they were hard days, but they were good because the audience that came to see the movie was just so filled with joy.
Right.
So,
and you were a tiny part of that.
I was a very small part.
Yeah.
I was just bringing them food and drinks.
Yeah, but I mean, you can't enjoy a movie without.
But it was so cool
to
see all these people show up in like traditional African clothes. Mm-hmm. So yeah,
it's cool, man. That's really neat that you shared that. Thanks for sharing that with us. It just kind of goes to show you like just how impactful this movie was to that community.
It was a lot. It was so impactful. Yeah.
Mr. Eric White. Funny because of the last name. What is your quick thoughts about this movie?
So I didn't see this one in theaters. At around this time, before like Ragnarok and Spider-Man, I had gotten like disenfranchised with Marvel for a while. I was like, oh, it's terrible. I hate them all. I don't want to see any more of them. This was like a few years before. It was like probably during phase 2. So I didn't like, I went for a long while without seeing any of them in theaters. But this one came out and I kept hearing from people, not only just like people of color who I worked with or just friends with, who would just be like, oh, it's great, you should go see it. Like everybody was like talking about it. Which just kind of goes to show how impactful a movie like this can be. Especially for like, was this before or after Wonder Woman? I can't remember.
After.
So I remember when Wonder Woman came out and everyone was like, gotta go see it. It's, step forward for female superheroes. So I saw that and I was like, great first 2 acts, kind of a terrible third act for Wonder Woman. But So I finally went and saw Black Panther, and it's kind of wonderful. It's great seeing it with people though. Like seeing it with the
Right.
crowd is where it's at. Watching it at home this time, I don't think it quite resonated as well as the first time I saw it. But there's still some really wonderful moments in it, and maybe the best villain in all of MCU. So throw that out there.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
top three for
Yes.
sure. You can't even make an argument with
Top
Tony
one.
being number one. Yeah.
I think it's probably top one. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, we'll talk about that later.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I think Ego for me from Guardians 2, he's still the one I relate it to the most.
He's great. Yeah.
I'm gonna
Sure.
say, I think Killmonger after this viewing and really analyzing his character, I think he might be my number two, a close number two. But
That's fair.
anyways, my quick thoughts and kind of stories I want to tell. At the time that this movie came out, I worked at a local college, washing dishes in the cafeteria, and we had a lot of foreign exchange students as workers, mostly from Africa, and I became really good friends with some of them. And there was this one kid who was from Africa, and he was not a big fan of superheroes, but he was extremely excited for this movie because it's a superhero that looks like him. It's from where he's from. And he went with his buddies to go see it in the IMAX in Little Rock, because I'm from Arkansas. And they were bumping like hip hop music, and they were really excited from what he was telling me. I've been thinking, wow, for somebody who did not like these superhero movies, but is excited for this particular one because it's a movie that separates his culture. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And as far as my like quick thoughts, this was a movie. The first couple times I saw it, I could not give an adequate opinion about it because it was so different than anything else in the Marvel Cinematic Universe at the time. The third and fourth time, I'm like, this movie is really good. Like, it is so good. There's just something about it. I'm not connected with the characters, some of the characters and the story, maybe by the fourth and fifth time, this last time especially, really focusing on the story and the backstory with the uncle and Killmonger and all of them.
Yeah.
This movie's a masterpiece. I love this movie. This movie is absolutely extraordinary. From the production design, from the acting, from the way that it represents African culture. The music, it's astounding. I think this is this composer's best score, even over Oppenheimer. The Ludwig, what's his name?
Ludwig Göransson?
Yeah.
Is that it? I think that's it.
The whitest guy in the world.
Yeah. But no,
but no, he's great. Yeah.
I love the score. I love the soundtrack, especially.
Soundtrack is really good.
It slaps. It's really good. Like
and
the
it's
Kendrick
all
Lamar songs.
Lamar. Yeah. I mean he produced the whole soundtrack, which is wild.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like to me it's almost like the Prince soundtrack from Batman '89, but like better. Like getting an artist to like cultivate and like cure songs for
it's
a movie
way
itself.
better than Batman '89.
So much better.
Debatable.
Okay, fine, whatever.
I mean, Bat Dance.
Well, I feel like I can listen to the Batman soundtrack more, but I don't know. But there is a little corniness to the Batman soundtrack. I will admit.
A little. Really?
Yeah.
Okay, fine.
You guys let the Batman. Okay. You got me there, Jackson. But you ready to get into the deep dive?
Sure.
Sure.
Let's do it.
Okay. The opening to this movie, when they explain the whole, lore of Wakanda, where vibranium was like came from like this meteor, and then they used it, to build a city, and then there's like this fruit or something.
Mm-hmm.
The
That-
heart-shaped herb.
Yeah, a heart-shaped herb that the original Black Panther took to get these powers
Mm.
and to rule the kingdom. But they kept it very secretive to them. They kept them all to themselves. And then like the world just kind of goes to shit. Like, you got slavery and war and all that stuff kind of going on. And then just the Wakandans are just there kind of doing their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then it cuts to Oakland, you get introduced to the uncle, and then it kind of sets up that part of the story. And then
Which is nice, setting it in the 90s, which is sort of like that golden era of hip hop.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Especially in
Yeah.
California at the time.
Also, Sterling K. Brown. Oh my God.
Oh yeah,
He's
I
I
so
wanted more
great.
of. I don't know why he was.
I would watch a whole
as soon as he
movie of
showed
that
back up,
character.
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Mhm.
and I love how the director Ryan Coogler, he brought that element to Creed, into the Rocky movie, that kind of like urban hip hop, like black culture into. He said like
Yeah.
you said that side of Philadelphia in that movie. I thought that was different because in the other Rocky movie, it was more like kind of like the Italian kind of side of like, yeah, hey, Fat, forget about it. I'm from Philadelphia.
And that's the thing about urban culture. Like, it's just a whole lot of different subcultures.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Like, there's the Italians, there's the Irish, there's the African Americans, there's the Asians. Like, there's kind of trashy white people. I don't know.
100% everywhere. Trashy white people everywhere.
Everywhere. Anyway, but yeah, that's urban culture. Like
melting pot, literal like melting pot of like.
Yeah,
I like the term salad bowl.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's really more of a salad bowl. Exactly. Yeah.
I like that. The moment that I love in this first Oakland scene is when the kids who are playing basketball look out at the Wakandan ship. And this is like that first indicator of like what made this movie so impactful. It's these kids in this rough neighborhood with a different skin color who had a disadvantage in this country compared to other people of a different skin color. And they look up at the ship and they see like something from their country that these people built. And it serves as an inspiration for these kids. And then they're amazed by it.
Well, that's at the end of the movie.
Right.
They see the ship.
But it's like, but
at the beginning of the movie, it might as well be aliens.
Aliens, yeah. They don't know what it is.
But like, yeah, I get your true. I'm just sound like an idiot there, but to me, it kind of gave you a little sprinkle of that kind of like idea.
Oh, sure.
Yeah,
it's a tease of like the real versus or the idea of like the potential of what Wakanda is versus sort of like the realities of like everyday America.
Right.
Yeah.
That little tease. Yeah, that's what I was getting at. I do love the museum scene. That might be one of my favorite scenes, when he's at the museum and he's asked the worker about different artifacts, particularly the axe, and he tells him that it's from the Falusa tribe from Bidden. And Killmonger actually corrects her and telling her that it's from Wakanda. And it was stolen from British soldiers that they took from Bidden. And he said, "How do you think your ancestors got these? Do you think they paid a fair price? Or did they just take it? Like they took everything else?"
Yeah.
And
I will say, sorry, go ahead.
And that's one of those the many like lines in this movie that really cuts to your heart. Like Ryan Coogler, I believe he wrote this movie, right? He was one of the writers.
Yeah, it was one of the writers. Yeah,
He was one of them. Yeah.
Yeah,
yeah.
like
I think there was like 2 or 3.
yeah, but like that was just one of those lines where it really like exposes the ugliness of history, right
Mhm.
there.
I will
Yeah.
say though
Like
that
he told
this
everything else.
the potential of this scene sort of sets up something that's severely lacking from like the first hour of this movie, which is more Killmonger. Is that we really get 2 scenes with him. We get this museum scene and then the scene where he breaks out Claw, and that's it. Like he doesn't really show up again until he shoots all those people in the airport, like in that junkyard airplane wherever they're at. But like I will say that is so I have like probably 2 complaints about this movie is that Killmonger is severely absent from the first half of the movie. And he is Michael B. Jordan is compelling anytime he's on screen.
Okay.
In these small scenes.
He should have been
And
nominated
He's
for that movie.
compelling every time he's on screen
Yeah.
in anything ever.
Yeah,
Yeah. I
agreed.
don't care if it's a stupid commercial. He's compelling.
It's true.
He's always
true.
been that
You
way.
do-
Yeah.
And he should have been nominated for this movie. Like seriously, like he's
Agreed.
Yeah.
It's really good.
Absolutely agreed. Yeah.
And then I love the part when T'Challa fights M'Baku to get the throne of Wakanda. And instead of killing M'Baku, T'Challa tells him, "You fought with honor. Now yield. Your people need you." And to tell you, like this guy's very honorable. Like he's a good leader. Like how Captain America is the beacon of hope for America. T'Challa is the beacon of hope for Africa and Wakanda.
Sure.
Mm.
And it's a setup for a payoff later when he fights Killmonger, where Killmonger's like, nah, fuck your king. He throws him over the waterfall. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
it's that setup, that duality of these 2 characters really, really plays out between those 2.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Have anything you want to say, Jackson?
I mean, the real surprise star of this movie is Winston
Duke, yeah.
as M'Baku. Like, how has he not had a better career? I guess, like, I don't know, COVID happened. So there weren't
Seems
that
like he
many
was on the
movies being
rise.
made, but like,
Yeah, because he did this
I mean,
and they did Us.
right
and then
after
it was,
this,
yeah.
he did Us. Like Jordan
Mhm.
Peele was like, hey, come be one of the leads in my movie. And Jordan Peele is one of the new greats. And yeah, we haven't really seen Winston Duke since then, but like he is the real breakout of this movie. Michael B.
Mhm.
Jordan was already established.
We
Right.
already know it. Yeah. Same with
Yeah.
Chadwick Boseman. He had already been around the block a few times. He was
Yeah.
in 42. He's really good in 42.
Yeah, he's
Um,
in Get On Up.
Get on up. Yeah.
I haven't seen that one.
I
I
think
think 42. And I also seen Ma Rainey Black Bottom, which he was excellent in.
But that was after this.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just listing off movies that I've seen him in, Eric.
Yeah.
I gotta say, when I was watching this movie for the first time, his little, I can't remember the character's name, but his little friend from the other tribe, I kept thinking that guy looked familiar, and it was like within the last like act of the movie, I'm like, oh shit, that's the guy from Get Out. That's Daniel.
Yeah. And Nope.
Oh
Yeah.
yeah, then cool. Yeah.
And Spider-Verse.
Oscar winner.
And her Judith and the
Yeah, I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah.
Judith the Black
He
Messiah is really good,
literally
too.
has an Oscar now.
Yeah, that's cool.
He's really good in that movie too, so you should watch it. And so is what is his name from Atlanta?
In Spider-Man.
Lakeith Stanfield?
Keith Stanfield, yes.
Oh,
yeah.
Keith Stanfield's really good in it too.
I'm talking about freaking Hubie Brown, Spider-Punk from Spider-Verse, bro. I don't
Who
care
was that? Was that him?
Yeah.
Oh, that's Daniel Kaluuya? I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, the reason why they cast him is because he's from Camden, like the Sex Pistols. So you wanted that in there.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah, and dude, he freaking talked like it. Like you can totally tell. Like I saw him in an interview, and like someone asked him, like, how is it being, in a Spider-Man movie? And he's like, it's kind of amazing, isn't it? he didn't say, isn't it? He said, isn't it?
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of my favorite parts is when T'Challa's father talks to him in the ancestral plains, and
That's beautiful.
oh yeah,
Mhm.
that's very Lion
Yeah.
King too. Because this movie, I would
Yeah.
describe this movie as like the Lion King meets the Godfather, because this whole family aspect. Well, that whole well,
Yeah.
you think about it, that's like one of the classic tropes in storytelling. Telling the father or the parent has power, it's in the position of power, they move on, they die, and then the child comes
Mm.
into that power.
Mhm.
Lion King, Hamlet, Black Panther, Godfather.
Yeah.
Like it's a trope.
Yeah. I mean, it's also too that this movie has more things on its mind, especially coming off of like two very not necessarily silly, but definitely more lighthearted movies than
Mhm.
this. Like coming off of like Ragnarok and Homecoming, like this is already like starting out far more like serious and like um both feet on the ground versus those movies, which are just almost larks by comparison.
Right.
Right. Um.
Well, then let's talk about Killmonger for a second.
Oh no, can I finish?
Okay.
Oh no, can I finish my thing real quick about the ancient
Okay, finish and then let's talk about Killmonger.
Hmm.
And then so I like this scene because T'Challa tells his father that he's not ready to be king, and then T'Chaka responds, "Have I not prepared you to be king your whole life? Have I not trained you and studied, been by my side?" And then T'Challa responds, "That I am not. I'm not talking about that. I'm not ready to be without you." And then T'Chaka responds, "A man who has not prepared his child for his own death has failed as a father. Have I failed you?" And then T'Challa responds, "Never." And then says, "Tell me how to protect Wakanda. I want to be a great king, Baba." And then T'Chaka responds, "You will struggle, so you'll need to surround yourself with people you trust. You're a good man with a good heart, and it's hard for a good man to be king.
Hmm.
That power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you can be the best person in the world, like Michael Corleone in Godfather, but you get a little bit of that power, it can really corrupt you and do some horrendous thing like kill your brother. But
Hmm.
the child's the opposite of that. He is
T'Challa is, but his dad isn't, and that's what he's really setting
No.
up there.
right.
Is
Oh,
that he's a fucking murderer? You know what I mean? He's like, you
right.
can be better than me.
Yeah.
I mean, he did it for a arguably good reason compared to Michael. He was just doing it for selfish purposes.
Ah,
But we'll get into that once we
maybe.
get to that of the thing. But I was watching the round
You
table.
said Michael, you meant Eric.
Okay, I don't know. I don't know him.
Sorry.
But
Nerd
anyway,
here.
uh, I was on the special features for Infinity War. There's like a round table with some of the directors, like the Russos and James Gunn and Ryan Coogler. And if I remember correctly, Ryan Coogler was saying that he asked Francis Ford Coppola what was his inspiration for The Godfather, and he gave him like this book, that's like stories about families and
Mm.
um,
Hmm.
a child coming into power or something like that. That served as inspiration. It was like some sort of like Greek myth or something like that. I don't remember. I haven't seen this feature
Sure.
in a while, but I thought that was really cool that he went to like Coppola, who made the like arguably the like one of the most iconic and best family dramas of all time with
Yeah.
Godfather and
Yeah, yeah.
Grayson. I thought that was really cool. Um, and then of course Godfather 2 is all about, seeing Vito, do run his business differently than Michael, like a mirror image kind
Mm.
of kind of thing, like what you're saying with T'Chaka, like he, like became he was a murderer. He murdered his own brother, and then he's teaching his son not to do that. So it's kind of like a mirroring. You've seen both how both men um are leaders, how they lead the people in both movies, in both stories.
Right.
Other Black Panther. I thought that's really interesting, and it's a different approach to that.
Sounds like same approach almost. So I mean, the
Yeah.
way you're saying it's like it is a similar approach they've been using for hundreds of years. You know, that sort of like hero with 1,000 faces sort of thing, where we're kind of always telling the same stories over and over, but with different characters, and that's what I think this movie does well, is telling it from a new perspective, a new representation that we got with Italian Americans. We've gotten it with
Talking
white
Lion.
people for like hundreds of years. You know what I mean? We've got it with Talking Lions. Like Talking Lions voiced by Matthew Broderick. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
Well, no. Here's the thing. Talking Lions from Africa, voiced by mostly white people.
Yeah.
I mean, they're all good.
Well, until the remake.
Yeah.
I mean, I do like those actors in the original Lion King. They're really good.
They're great. You know what?
Yeah.
I also like the actors in the remake.
Good for
but
you.
the remake does not serve them well. So
Yeah.
All
right.
You had something, Killmonger. Yeah.
We have to talk about Killmonger.
Eric Killmonger, be precise.
Yes. Okay. We have referenced him being the greatest villain in the MCU, but we need to talk about why. Because, the MCU has a villain problem. They're always just motivated by nothing. This villain has the most pure and great motivations, but he's still a villain. And he's also played by one of the most charismatic actors to ever play a villain in the MCU. But what is really consequential to this movie is that the villain changes the hero's mind. That's the best part, is that the villain's motivations, on the surface may mean nothing to most people, but he in his interactions with T'Challa changes T'Challa's mind. I can't think of that many movies where that happens. It's amazing.
Yeah. And it's his motivations, Killmonger's motivations in the movie aren't unwarranted.
No, they're not.
At a certain point,
perfectly legitimate.
At a certain point,
yeah,
you're just like, yeah, that makes sense. Why shouldn't they should do that? It was like so much so that they almost go out of their way to villainize him at a few points. Whenever he says he's going to burn all the herbs,
I hate that
he has to choke that woman.
I hate that part.
It feels like so over the top that it's just like, they didn't need it. I think you can. It paints him too black and white at that point. It paints him too villainy.
He's actually like turning against his own people at that point.
Right.
And his own people are the whole reason he's doing this.
Yes.
But at the same time, they fucked him over as a kid. They left him.
That's true.
To die in another country. So
you can't blame him too much.
So no, I can't blame him. That's what makes the character so great
and compelling. Always compelling at every point.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, that and Michael B. Jordan, but I can't blame him for anything he does. But at the same time, I'm like, no, don't do
that.
Pump
your brakes just a second. Yeah.
Well,
I will say, I do have a question though, real quick.
Okay.
So, and maybe I just missed it watching through this time. But so Killmonger's goal was to take Claw back to Wakanda to say like, here's my peace offering, let me in.
Right.
Why didn't he kill Claw from the top? You know what I mean? Like, why is he helping him steal all that vibranium and then breaks him out of clutches? You know what I mean? I don't know.
Because to pull off a heist, you need help.
It's true.
You can't pull off a heist alone. You need a team. So he needs Killmonger, he needs Ulysses to like do this thing, and then once he's done with Ulysses just becomes another pawn in the game.
Right.
Okay. You're
Well,
right. Just double check.
speaking of Ulysses Crawl, I just gotta say one thing real quick. What is love? Baby, don't hurt me. Baby, don't hurt me. No more.
I really want to hear Claw's mixtape. I really want to hear his mixtape. I hope they release it someday. I want to hear this Andy Serkis Claw
Dude,
mixtape.
I timed that shit just
I
right.
mean, who doesn't love Andy Serkis? Come on.
Yeah,
He's great. I mean, and if you, I will say this: if we didn't get more Killmonger at the top, at least we had Andy Serkis as our other secondary villain.
Right. And we got Andy Serkis in a whole other movie.
Yeah.
Like, we've already talked about that. I don't know if we talked about him. Probably not.
We may not have.
I don't know.
That movie's overstuffed. There was too much to talk about with Ultron. So
yeah.
Now going back to the Killmonger thing about him changing Howard's mind. When he breaks into the throne room, he says, "Y'all been sitting up here comfortable. Must feel good. It's about 2 billion people that look like us, but their lives are a lot harder. Wakanda has the tools to liberate them all." And then T'Challa responds, "It's not our way to be judge, jury, and executioner of people that are not our own." And then Killmonger responds, "Not your own, but didn't life start right here on this continent? So ain't all people your people?" And then T'Challa responds, "I'm not king of all people. I am king of Wakanda." And that's kind of like the spark that maybe gets him to think, no, we need to like share resources with people. Maybe. Yeah. Because
he kills him shortly after that, though. So.
But no. And then the next movie in in the series is Infinity War, where some of the Avengers hide in Wakanda and prepare for battle.
I mean, the whole end of Infinity War takes place at Wakanda.
Yeah,
like it takes place, on their basically the war comes to their home at that point. It comes to their doorstep.
Yeah. I will say I did love the high ante bit. That was like a really good choice.
I mean, I don't know, but that seems based on the Black people that I've known in my life, that seems very real to me.
Okay.
Because that's how they address their aunts and uncles.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I thought that was a good way to put that was a good thing to put it in there.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were saying And anyway, no, there's a lot of
like it.
And that's what it is nice of being a white person, seeing this with a crowd of people of multiple ethnicities is just like hearing their reaction to things that don't necessarily resonate with me. But hearing that there's so much humor in this movie that that kind of goes over my head, like I don't even realize it. But like seeing it with a crowd is like an entirely different experience.
Yeah.
Right. I was thinking I like that bit. Like I thought it was a good bit to have in there, like a little not quirk, but a little like thing to really like for that.
It seems real. It seems real.
It's real. It's real. It's a poke too. Like he's prodding her. You know what I mean? It's not like it's not just like it's very nicely played.
I wasn't knocking it. If anybody was confused, I like that bit. Okay. I just really want to emphasize that. And then Killmonger defeats T'Challa and he takes the throne of Wakanda.
Not only kills T'Challa, kills Forrest Whitaker as well. Kills what was the name of the movie?
Forrest Whitaker, my favorite actor in this movie.
Oh yeah.
Hated to see him die.
Oh yeah.
Oh god, he dies in this. Shoot.
Yeah.
He's gone. Yeah. He is absolutely gone.
Then when Killmonger takes the throne, he says, where I'm from, when Black folks start revolutions, They never had the firepower or the resources to fight their oppressors.
Mhm.
With Wakanda, again, it's just hitting at that nerve to the Wakandans. It's like, where
Yeah.
were you during slavery? Where
Mhm.
were you during segregation? Where were you during any time a black person was beaten by the cops?
And you're just talking about American. You're just talking about American injustices.
Right.
Can you imagine the
Yeah.
amount of things happening all over the world? So it's just like, and that's just another thing that shades Killmonger in so many different compelling ways, is that his character isn't wrong. Some of the ways he goes about it are completely wrong, and that's probably why they throw some of those things that are a little over the
Right.
top, like him choking the lady and shooting, like, I guess what is his quasi girlfriend when Claw and him are trying to get on the plane, or shooting
Yeah.
like an innocent bystander. It's to like paint him as a villain, because at certain points you're like really sympathizing with him, which is something the MCU has never been good at, or really painting a compelling villain altogether, but it's really even painting a sympathetic or a smart one a lot of the times.
Yeah, for sure. Um, and he's genuinely scary, but
Mhm.
also like,
Yeah. All the
human.
scars. My
Yeah.
God.
Yeah, and it's like his presence. Like when he walks in the room, he demands attention. Like
Mhm.
you
He's got
want to,
swagger.
yeah,
He has swagger throughout the entire movie.
yeah. And that one scene in the second one, good God, like that's a scene that takes your breath away when you watch it. Like that
I
one.
saw it. I do not remember that scene.
I
I don't
remember.
remember that scene
I
either.
don't remember exactly what he said. But I just remember that this scene, that character, just like his presence and the way that Michael Jordan plays it,
Mm,
it was like it was really powerful.
mm.
Like to me, even though I forgot what he said in the movie, but again, he was just there, and that was enough for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's talk about T'Chaka's backstory with his brother,
Oh
Hmm.
God.
because you find out that um that T'Challa's uncle was a war dog. And from what I understand from doing research on the internet, that's kind of like the CIA, or it's like some sort of special agency within
Yeah, they're
Wakanda.
spies.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and basically, so he was sent to America to go on a mission, and basically, the uncle saw how oppressed that black people were outside Wakanda, because they didn't have the means to stand up to their oppressors, and he wanted to rule the world with vibranium, and his brother T'Chaka was against this and even help. Oh no, the the uncle stole vibranium or helped the Claw with.
He
Helped
helped
Claw.
Claw.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that was a means to an ends for him, wasn't it? Like, wasn't he helped Claw to get something else out of it because his
Right.
Right.
someone's in prison, right? Yeah. So like they already paint this guy as willing to bend, like they paint Killmonger's father as someone who's already willing to bend the rules,
Hmm.
or do some things that are outside of the law, I guess, within
Hmm.
America, to gain a means to an end. So it really kind of sets up Killmonger in some ways, of like
Oh yeah.
what he's willing to do to achieve justice or whatever he feels is right.
Right. And so yeah, and then like I said, T'Chaka is not happy about this, and he basically tells his brother that you will face the council. And
Mm,
the brother pulls out a gun, points it at Forrest Whitaker's character, who's younger, so it's a different actor playing him. Um, and T'Chaka straight up kills his brother. It's really heartbreaking. It's
hmm.
really sad.
And this is the thing, is we don't know that at the top. We see all this in the first few minutes of the movie, but we don't really even get the backstory until I don't know, like an hour and a
Right.
half into the movie almost. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, like an hour in the movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's really sad. And then you find out that earlier in this story that Forrest Whitaker is telling that the uncle married a American woman and had a Killmonger.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so yeah, it's a pretty jacked up thing,
Mm-hmm.
and it's really debatable. Did he do the right thing? Like he was protecting his fellow Wakandan by killing
Sure.
his brother and fellow Wakandans. Like it's just so
Sure.
weird, so crazy.
No, yeah, and and it kind of goes back to, maybe he did the right thing in the moment, maybe he didn't. That's, it's not painted either way. Should he have taken Eric with him though? Probably. Like
Mhm.
that, and that's probably where he fails as sort of a leader, is abandoning like this
Yeah.
boy to the basically this orphan. He's orphaned a kid at this point because the mom's in prison, and I think I've read somewhere backstory that she dies in prison. So like his mom never comes back out. His dad is killed by with panther claws of all things, inside of a housing complex. And so basically orphaned this kid and left him to his own device, like left him to the
Yeah.
world to sculpt in their own thing. So like he's basically created the villain. He's basically created his own arch villain. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Or the arch villain for his son, really.
Which
Yeah.
really leads into, I think, the best scene in the movie, where T'Challa has, we're probably getting ahead of ourselves, but T'Challa has been, wiped out by Killmonger, and
Mm-hmm.
he goes back to the ancestral plane, and
Mm-hmm.
he says, "You were wrong. All of
Mm-hmm.
you were wrong." And like, I don't even think you have to be a black person to understand that sentiment. You were wrong. All of you were wrong. Like, it doesn't mean you can't revere your ancestors. It doesn't mean you can't love your heritage,
Mm-hmm.
but to call it out where it deserves to be called out and say all of you are wrong, that is the real power of this movie,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not just a movie for black people. It is in some ways,
Of course.
but it's a movie for everyone.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Marvel makes movies for everyone. We can all learn something from these movies. And I
Mm-hmm.
think over the course of conversations we've had about these movies, we've established that there's always something to take from
Mm-hmm.
them.
Sure. And
And
that's,
I
I
think,
think a scene, yeah.
yeah,
No, that scene
go
that scene
ahead.
is what kind of elevates this movie above just the general bad guy, good guy sort of thing. Is that it paints these people, a parental figure who's someone you revere, as someone who's flawed, just like anybody else's. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Sort of like it really humanizes these characters more than a lot of the other ones do. Which I
yeah,
think is very interesting.
Yeah, for sure. Um, one of my and then the last thing I got written down is after the big, climactic fight between T'Challa and Killmonger.
Hmm.
Um, Killmonger is badly injured, and T'Challa offers to heal Killmonger after being stabbed. And
Hmm.
he says, "So you can bury me in the ocean where with my ancestors they jumped from the steps because they knew death was better than bondage." My favorite line in the whole movie. That
yeah.
really strikes home. Out of all
It's
these lines that strike home, this one that really gets me. The fact
it's
that
it,
death
it
is better than bondage.
Yeah.
If that's freedom. That and to those slaves in that situation. How sad
Mhm.
is that? And that's part of our history of not just America but of the world. That is sad. That is very sad. That death
mm,
is freedom compared to bondage.
Mhm.
And I just need to keep
Yeah.
reiterating that point. Because people just don't get it. Some people just don't get that that we're all human beings. And we
Mhm.
deserve to be treated like human beings, but just some people don't get it. It's
Yeah.
crazy to me. And my mom raised me to be the most loving person that I can be. And so I don't see black people as monsters. I see them as human beings. I don't see gay people as monsters. I see them as human beings. And the list can go on and on. I just don't get why some people can't see these people as human beings, but as monsters. It just baffles my mind.
Mm. And some of it probably has to do with upbringing. Some of it probably has to do with
Absolutely
what
does. A lot.
Jackson was sort of getting at with the you know, you're wrong, calling out a parental figure, calling out someone who raised you and taught you the ways of the world, that they make mistakes too, you know? So it's
Mhm.
like having to learn your own path and having to decide your own conclusions about the world and how you want to treat people. So
Right. Well, and then like even T'Chaka during the first ancestral plane scene, he says, "Have I failed you?" He kind of did in a way. He made a
yeah.
mistake.
Yeah.
But isn't that the plight of every parent though? I'm not a parent. I don't know. I have cats. I have two cats.
Well, none
I
of us
fail them
are.
every day.
None of us
I
are
fail my
parents
cats
on
every
this
right.
show.
Yeah.
I fail cats every day. But isn't that the plight of every parent is that you are essentially going, you can try your best, but
Mhm.
you're going to fail your kid at some point.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, but
I don't
also the power of a parent to say, stand up. You are a king. Oh my God. Like that's the part that really gets to me
Mhm.
Mhm.
of this movie. Like even after T'Challa tells his father and all his ancestors, all of you are wrong.
Mhm.
The idea that T'Chaka can say, stand up, you are a king,
Mm.
Yeah, that's
and send him back out into the world to
yeah.
make a change.
I
That's what
think
we need.
yeah, I
Yeah.
think that's what every every child wants to hear from their parents. Is that
Yeah.
encouragement. Like go forth and do good in the world. Be
Yeah.
what you meant to be. That's very validating, and I hope I can get to that point in my life.
And
And
that's why,
I hope my parents.
this movie is such a black movie, but it is also not a black movie
Mhm.
Yeah.
because there is something we can all take from this. Oh my God. I did not expect to have this conversation
Yeah.
about Black Panther.
Yeah, you're getting really emotional, Jackson, and I'm
Yeah,
but that's
because
good. It's all emotion. I want your authentic opinions on here.
yeah,
That's what
this
it's
movie is
about.
very emotional. Like, I mean, let's be clear. I've seen this movie a bajillion times
Mhm.
because I was working those 12-hour days
Mhm.
when
Right.
people were watching it, when it first came out. I've watched it over the years. I showed my mom this movie. She loved it.
Mhm.
I did not rewatch it for this podcast. I
Okay.
watched a couple like YouTube reactions to it,
Mhm.
Sure.
but what the movie gets to still got to me. Like,
Mhm.
when even in a YouTube reaction video, when T'Chaka says, stand up, you are a king, I cry.
Oh yeah.
When he says, you are wrong, all of you were wrong, I cry. When Killmonger talks about his ancestors who jumped into the ocean because death is better than bondage, I cry. This movie really gets to some deep stuff.
Mhm.
And yeah, I wasn't really prepared for it, but I guess I was too, because I've just lived with this movie for
Mhm.
6 years. So
That's true. That is the weird thing too about this movie is that it is fairly recent, but it feels almost. I mean, I guess it's like classical underpinnings, but it feels like classic almost in some ways. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't feel like it came
yeah,
out just 6 years ago.
Well, like I
right.
said, like it goes back to like Hamlet, like that
Yeah.
theme in Hamlet of like the father dies,
Sure.
the son takes over, evil family member tried to take over the kingdom, son
Mhm.
talks to a ghost version of the dad.
Oh, so the Lion King. I get you.
But no, like that scene when he says "Go forth and be king" or whatever he said,
Mm.
that's very much um. Remember, Simba, you're more than what you become. A father telling their child, like, be your best. And that's something that my parents always tell me to do. And I'm sure your parents tell you to do, Jackson. And I'm sure your parents tell you to
Yeah.
do, Eric.
Sure.
Your parent does that. And I'm hope but one day I get to pursue my dreams and make my parents proud. And I
Mm.
think I'm starting to by doing this awesome podcast with you, doing something that I love to do and talk movies.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
this is my passion in life. It's movies.
Hey, you know what? Roger Ebert said movies are machines that generate empathy.
Mm,
Mm.
This is one of those movies.
yeah.
It generates empathy.
Mhm.
And I think
You feel for everyone in this
yes,
movie.
you do. And I think out of all three of us, I think this movie is more personal to you because you worked that movie theater, and seeing all the people in the black community dressed up, in like
I
African
don't think
garb.
that makes it more personal to me.
No, but you firsthand saw the impact of it and worked 12-hour shifts and
I
making
did. Yeah.
very minimal impact in their experience by serving them food. But I mean, just I don't know, maybe just like would maybe just having like a small conversation with them, either buying food with them, maybe about the movie or saying maybe you saying, "Oh, I like your outfit," kind of thing. Maybe it help.
Yeah, I
I
don't
mean,
think it was about having conversations with them. I think it was just about seeing them.
Right.
yeah. And
I, I didn't mean
I
to
think that
pinpoint
is
that too much.
the well, I mean, I think that gets back to your point, Drew. I think that is sort of the power of movies and seeing them with a group of people
Mm,
is that collective experience of we're all watching something and we're all emoting, whether laughing or crying or being scared, all together as one, and that is
Mm-hmm.
if these are machines to create empathy, we're all creating it on a massive on an audience scale of a theater filled with people all watching and cheering and laughing and that's more powerful than church to me. You know what I mean? Like it's like it is something that touches everyone all at
mm.
once, and that's really it's magic. It's the magic of movies, in
Yeah,
honesty.
I agree
As
with
Yeah.
you.
cheesy as that sounds, as cheesy as that sounds.
The movie theater is definitely my church and my sanctuary.
Sure.
That's where I get the most religious high is watching.
Not
Mm,
gonna argue with that at all.
yeah.
And with that being said, you ready to get the favorite part and least favorite part? I'll
Sure.
Sure.
I'll give you a little bit of a break, Jackson. I'll go with
Okay.
Okay.
and I know you just had an emotional experience there, Jackson. What is your favorite part, Eric?
Maybe my favorite part. I want to say Killmonger. I want to say Michael B. Jordan. But in honesty, I'm gonna take it from probably someone else. I'm gonna probably say Chadwick Boseman
Mm,
because he is having to do all the heavy lifting in the movie. He's basically having to play the straight man. He's probably having to be the king, and then he does a really wonderful job. And I wish we could have seen more of what he could have done in the
mm,
world.
Yeah,
So I mean, I would say,
he was on track to being the next Denzel.
yeah,
Like
yeah,
he played Jackie Robinson and James Brown
mm.
and Thurgood Marshall and
yeah.
T'Challa
Right.
and oh god, his life was so sadly cut short.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really
Yeah.
sad.
And so it's, in a movie like this where the production design and the costumes and your supporting cast are all so good, you might lose track of your protagonist a little bit. And so that's just wanted to say Chadwick Boseman.
Yeah. Least favorite part.
Severe lack of Killmonger in the first act and some kind of shoddy VFX near the end. There's some of those suits that look a little rubbery.
Mhm.
I get it. They probably Marvel in a business move stupidly probably didn't put enough money into this and probably put more money into Ragnarok and things that were already established franchises. And so they were probably cut it short, and it kind of shows some in those daylight scenes near the end.
Kind of
But those are minor complaints. Those are minor complaints in the grand scale of the whole movie.
Yeah, I will say with regard of the lack of Killmonger in the beginning of the movie, I think the rest of the movie, without the story, is so good. Like you kind of forget that, oh, you're here. It's Michael B. Jordan is a Marvel villain kind of thing. Jackson, go. What's your favorite part and least favorite part?
Favorite part is stand up. You are a king. Least favorite part, that we lost Chadwick Boseman. I mean, what more least favorite than that? Come on.
Yeah. So speaking of the loss of Chadwick Boseman, we have to talk about, I don't know if you guys seen the interview that he did where he was asked about the impact and why this movie matters. And when he gave this interview, he was already diagnosed with cancer.
Sure.
And he talked about this little, it was a kid who was so excited for Black Panther. And this kid was diagnosed with cancer. And unfortunately passed away before the movie came out. So he never saw it. And when Chadwick told the story, he was in tears, and he says, yeah, it matters. It really matters. Yeah. And he didn't make it about himself. He didn't say, hey, I got cancer. He made it about this kid who's just excited for this movie. That, man, that gets me. As somebody who has a sister with cancer, that the whole topic of cancer it really gets to me. That was a hard time for us. And that was really noble of Mr. Boseman to not make it about himself, about his cancer experience, but about this this experience of this kid. But yeah, I just wanted to address that somewhere in this episode because that was really cool of them to do that.
Yeah.
And he spent time with this kid too. From what I understand, and that's really cool. My favorite part is Killmonger's last scene. The whole, because they knew death was better than bondage. Like that is, man, that is haunting. This is probably one of the most haunting things I've ever heard in my life.
And it's not like he chooses to die. So like he pulls the knife out at that point. You know what I mean? Like that's. Ugh.
Yeah. And then my least favorite part, T'Challa and Killmonger's Black Panther costumes looking the same. Like that. They could have done something different with Killmonger's.
Yeah.
Oh, Marvel and your previous unit.
Yeah. I mean that is
MCU.
it's kind of amazing that this movie even exists within the machine that is Marvel. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like a movie is good. A movie as good as this and as good as like the James Gunn Guardians movies are shouldn't exist. Their like weirdness and emotional and like their connections to a broader culture shouldn't exist in this machine. Like they shouldn't work. But I'm so happy that people like Ryan Coogler gets to make movies like this within Marvel.
Yeah.
And Marvel's better for
Ryan Coogler, what's he working on now? That's what I want to know.
They're working on Wakanda TV show, or they're producing it at least. I don't know what movie he's directing
no,
next.
no.
Yeah.
I want him to do like more different movies.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. But okay, fine. Whatever.
Yeah, I still
Whatever
haven't-
he wants.
Yeah. I still have not seen Fruitvale Station yet. I really,
Oh, it's
Fruitvale
so
Station's
good.
really good.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan's really good in it too. I think that was
He's
the first thing I
great
ever
in
saw Michael B.
everything.
Jordan in.
yeah.
Oh, you didn't see Friday Night Lights?
Is he in Friday Night, like the movie or the TV
He's
show?
in like seasons 4 and 5. He's at the end of the
Oh, no.
show.
I never
But
watched.
no,
I never watched the TV show.
that's the first thing I saw him in, and man, he is great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know the first thing I seen Michael B. Jordan in is fucking Fantastic 4. That piece of fucking dog turd.
That's not his fault.
Yeah. But I'm just saying.
None of those actors' fault.
It could have been
And
so
really, maybe not even the director's fault.
It was like,
Yeah.
it was like a David Cronenberg style movie. It could have been so cool, but it just set the
Yeah.
bed. It was terrible.
Studios.
Yeah. All right, guys. So I have come up with the new rating system, and how we're gonna do it is we're gonna do it 2 categories to add up to our overall score. First category is filmmaking quality, production design, music, acting, all that stuff. Second category is themes, which is kind of story, thematic elements, real world relevance kind of thing. And we'll take those. Those are gonna be out of 5, both of those, and we'll add those up for a possible 10 out of 10. All right. So Jackson, what is your rating?
Okay. So, what's the first one again?
Filmmaking.
Okay. So, filmmaking, I'm going to give this like a 3.5.
Okay.
Not because of Ryan Coogler or anything, but just the Marvel machine doing its thing. And the final battle, again, is pretty bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And then what about themes?
Oh, 5.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you give it an overall score of 8.5.
Okay, cool.
Eric, filmmaking rating and themes.
Anything other than visual effects, I'd probably say it's a 4 to 5.
Okay, we'll pick one.
Costumes, production
We'll pick
design.
one.
I know. I'm getting to it. I'm building there. Hang on. So anything other than visual effects, it's probably a 4.5 to 5. Most of everything looks really good. The cinematography's crisp and clean. It was all this whole movie was shot by a lady who had worked on Mudbound with a D. Ree movie from years ago. And so I full on in everything looks great other than VFX, and so then it becomes a 3.5 because the whole third act kind of falls apart in some ways just because of it's so over reliant on visual effects, and some of them don't look great.
Mm-hmm.
But the way the emotional impact of it, and so story and theme 5 again. So me and Jackson are on probably the same page. So 8.5.
Oh,
we're on the same page. Who knew?
We're on the exact same page. I know, right?
Surprise.
I'm gonna go filmmaking a 5 because I think the actual craftsmanship, the cinematography, the costumes, the production design,
Sure.
all that, it overshadows the CGI for me. And of course, themes are gonna be 5, so I give it a 10 out of 10. It's a
Okay. All right.
masterpiece.
How many of these have you given a perfect score now?
A lot.
That's fine. No, that's fine. I mean, there've been some really good movies, especially in this. What are we in phase 3 now?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Phase 3 is the best sets of movies all around. So it's like, I get it.
All right, so that wrapped up our latest episode of the MCU Lookback. Guys, we got 2 more episodes after this. We're finally at the Infinity War. Finally! Next episode of this is going to be Infinity War.
Oh, God.
Are we just doing Infinity War next? Is that the only movie that's up next?
Yeah, it's Infinity War, Ant-Man and the Wasp, and then Captain Marvel. are the next 3.
Okay. So the
yeah,
next 3. Okay.
and then Endgame and Far From Home. So
Yeah, so we'll be
Yes.
back in June.
I counted today.
All right, guys. So if you like this episode and you want to see more incredible content, make sure you smash that subscribe button, web swing on over to Facebook and Twitter at Horror Sci-Fi and Beyond. And also, don't forget to leave this episode an amazing comment and give it a Thanos-size thumbs up. And before I go, Wakanda forever. And it's Jostier. Enough said.